Oh, every time. Hello, everybody. I thought I'd turn that off tonight. Hello, everybody. Welcome to the Interesting Modelling Company Sunday service. Here we are, another Sunday, the last one in May. And I'm joined tonight by Mr. Christopher Joseph Buchholz. How are you doing, Chris?
Hello.
How you doing?
I'm doing just great, Jonathan. How are you?
I'm fine. I'm still trying to put the show together at the moment because we've had a few technical gremlins, ladies and gentlemen. So anyway,
blame the staff. Just blame your staff. You know,
he's in the hall eating his dinner at the moment. So we've got some new stories to talk about tonight. But before we go anywhere else, we will do. Oh, we're actually joined by, would you believe, Mr. Ian Hartup as well. We weren't expecting you,
I've
Ian.
been sat there for about 5 minutes going, John.
You should have pinged me a message to say we weren't expecting you this evening.
No, it was a little unexpected.
That's an understatement.
No, it was unexpected on my behalf.
You what, sorry?
If you're watching the Indy cars, it was unexpected on Mick Schumacher's behalf as well. Because I was expecting it to finish the time to join you, and then I abandoned it because he's in the wall in Detroit and it's a full push hour. So.
Oh well.
Hey ho.
Fair enough. Right, I'm just going to call up Chris's projects folder here at the moment.
Random wreckage, basically, at the stage.
That's fine. Ian, you got a copy of the schedule, didn't you?
Yeah.
Right. It was posted. It was posted to our group chat, so it should be on there.
Right,
yeah. Ian looks like he's intrigued by something on the listing. That's all. That's what I got from his response. The tone of his yeah.
There is something that I've saved for the next car show, but it's a motorbike actually, but it's a new Hasegawa motorbike. But we'll talk about that when we get around to doing the car show, Ian. So
Hasegawa have snuck a couple of little bits in, and Fujimi as well. We've got some stuff to talk about. Potentially next weekend, but we'll see.
Yep, fingers crossed. Right, Christopher, you have been a busy little beaver. So what's this you're building then?
What the heck is that? So I'm getting ready to take these models to the USS Midway not the USS Midway, the USS Hornet for their Midway display, which is in Alameda. And I'm still waiting on one of the modelers to finish a D3A, which inspired me to go back and revisit some of my stuff I've written about D3A kits. Talk about an underserved airplane. We talked a little about the TBD not getting much love. The D3A had this kit, the Fujimi kit, which came out probably about 40 plus years ago. There's also a newer Cyber model kit, which I reviewed. I did a sort of head-by-head comparison, and honestly, it's no better than the Fujimi kit. It's got some benefits, but some things are worse. Like it's got this kind of attempt at interior detail, but then it's got injector pin marks all over it, literally all the way down both sides of the fuselage interior. That you basically have to ruin the interior to fix it. So I just got the idea. Forget it. I'm gonna make a detail set for this Fujimi one. It's a nice little model. It needs some TLC in the interior. It could use a new engine. You can source that though. It could use a gun in the back, and I've got references. My friend Mike Braun, years ago, I was thinking about doing this. My friend Mike Braun loaned me these books, and then he had the gall to go and pass away, which is terrible. So this is kind of a tribute to Mike, but these are really useful books that are pretty hard to get. The Mara Mechanic from 1982, and Bob Mikish's book on Japanese aircraft interiors, really very helpful. And so I'm building it bit by bit, the old-fashioned way, not 3D printing it, but I'm just sticking pieces of styrene and wire and stuff together to get an interior that that is easy to drop in. And yeah, it's an interesting airplane. Like I said, not well served. If you go on ScaleMates, there's almost nothing aftermarket for the Val, which is an incredibly important airplane. Sank more American warships in the first part of World War II than any other aircraft. But there's like an aftermarket detail set for landing gear, which is of dubious use, and that's about it. You can get like I said, an engine or a gun in the back. The gun is very much like a Lewis gun. But yeah, there's no set for it yet, which is incredible. So I've been stealing some parts here and there from other models. The pilot seat is going to be a modified seat out of a Academy Lockheed P-38 because the kit seat was bad for a P-38, but it's okay for a D3A. So that's just the way it works. So stand by. You'll see this thing growing up. You'll see those little squares there is basically the engineering. It's like you block out the cockpit physically so you know everything fits. That piece on the far left is the ammunition chutes and assorted stuff that goes ahead of the instrument panel, which sounds crazy until you realize the instrument panel is kind of this weird inverted T-shaped thing. So you can see through it and you can see the machine gun butts and stuff like that. So Japanese planes of the late 30s, early 40s are that way. But a lot of fun.
So that's your bulkhead / instrument panel, isn't it?
Yeah, and that's going to be behind another instrument panel. So
right.
It's just adding some depth to the detail. So there's no need to be super refined, but yeah, it's the old ways right there. There's the thin slices of Tamiya tape for your weld seams.
I built the Airfix Val wibbly wobbly effect 1997, so it's nearly 30 years ago now, and yeah. I had to build it straight out of the box because it was for a display for Telford, and I do remember that I gave it a coat of lacquer primer. And the lacquer primer, it was the most weird thing. The lacquer primer actually ate into the surface and it's recessed all the rivets. It was beautiful.
Wow.
It actually looked like I'd kind of done a riveting job on it. But nope, it was pure accident.
A technique you'd never want to try again.
No, exactly. And this is one of your Wildcats. Very nice.
This is actually Ed Ingersoll's Wildcat.
Oh, right.
I put it on there because this week one of my projects was when Ed sent this for the first time for our display way back in 2013. He forgot he marked it as if it were a later war U.S. I guess contemporary U.S. Army Air Force airplane, which meant he only had a star on one wing, and I think 23 was missing on the one wing. So. Luckily, I had the decal sheet, and even Ed pinged me and said, "Oh my God, I screwed up so badly." So I said, "Don't worry, Ed, we'll fix it." And so I did, and I just put it up here because nothing is more fascinating than trying to match the style of another modeler on an otherwise completed model. So getting the decals down, that's kind of straightforward. Making sure that the sheen is consistent, and then trying to make sure you replicate his method of getting the panel lines on, just so it's consistent. Because when you first put the decal on, obviously there's like a shrieking difference between the left and right wing, and so so it's done. It's ready to go it's ready to go on the display. That's Jimmy Thatch's F4F from the Battle of Midway. And then this thing is I'm trying to finish this. This is one of my big projects this week. We're getting that tail transparency on, which is vacuum formed and kind of fits. This is a monogram snap tight B-26 Marauder. It's a B-26. It's been converted back to a B-26 MA. The kit is actually a B-26B-1 for you Marauder fans out there. So it's short wing, short tail. The MAs had that weird stinger position with a 30 caliber machine gun. And Squadron did a nice set of transparencies to do that conversion, which is totally weird. It makes no commercial sense, but God bless them. But getting that thing on the back is a total nightmare. It's on there roughly right now with white glue. I'm going to go over it with CA glue, and then I'm going to sand it out to try to make it make it somewhat smooth, and then try to avoid the machine gun, the 30 caliber machine gun. That's kind of the bane of all bomber builders' existence, is the guns poking everywhere. But this is going to be also for the Midway display. It's the it's James Murray's crew's airplane called Suzy Q, which tried to torpedo one of the carriers, and then the Akagi, and then to get away from the Japanese fighters, it flew straight down the Akagi's deck at about 15 feet, and because they figure nobody's going to shoot at you when you're right over the Japanese flagship, right? Or it's an idea, and they actually got back safely with the airplane completely riddled with holes, and it was pushed into the lagoon at Midway right after that. But yeah, so there it is. There's that somewhat unpleasant looking tail position right now before it's had some sanding TLC, and you can sort of see there. There's a little white mark at the bottom of the sill. That's really what that is photo etched 30 caliber machine gun ammunition from the feed box that goes up to the machine gun. Kind of a crazy operation trying to get parts and clear parts to attach to other parts inside the airplane and stay there for the duration of the model's existence. But yeah, that's what you do.
Yeah, it looks good, Chris. I do like
coming along.
You know what, sorry?
Oh, I think Ian said something. Did Ian?
No. Hang about. Ian. There we go. Ian. Sorry, Ian. Try again.
I think Chris said it's coming along. So
it's been coming along since 2013. So hopefully I can get the home stretch covered.
We've all got one of those, haven't we? There's a customized Ford back there that does that.
I've got projects up in the attic that date back to the 1980s, and I still haven't got around to finish them. I'm looking at you, Revell Wildcat. I had this dream that I would build the Revell Wildcat with all the references that restaurant photograph that I'd taken at Yeovilton, and I actually started kind of rescribing it and everything, and then I lost interest, and then Trumpeter bring their kit out years later, and it's just like, why am I bothering? So but I've still got my big folder of Grumman Wildcat stuff here, including original documents from Lois Lovisolo, the brilliant archivist at Grumman back in the 80s. She was an absolute gem to deal with. So Ian, got any project updates before I do mine?
I finished one.
Go on then.
I finished my M6 that I've been working on for a while. There you go.
Oh,
that was
shiny.
My.
Yeah, that's one of my Macau cars. I think Sarah Jane's built this one as well. She realised there was a decal missing from the back, and I didn't. So I'm still waiting to see if they send me a replacement. In which case, I'll attempt to get it on. Sorry.
I was going to say, what kit is it?
So this is a new BMW M6. So this was actually the first ever new kit. This plastic. This is another issue of it. This is a limited edition one they did a while ago. We decals in to celebrate the retirement of Charlie Lamb, who was a BMW guy. But it's a lovely kit for what it is. It's very simple, realistically. I have just left a lovely fingerprint in the middle of that bonnet, but there you go. I'll just get rid of that. Because I'm eating Tankfastics. No, I'm on Tankfastics, matey. Look, big tub of Tankfastics. Yeah. Anyway, but it's finished. It's been on the go a little while. I'm rather pleased with it for what it is. It stands all right. Had a last-minute drama when I realised that the kit really doesn't intend you to put the body together as one piece and then add the chassis to it. But a few interesting razor saw cuts later, and it all fitted together nicely. It's a nice thing. I will build another because I have another 7.
Question, Ian. You just showed us the underside there. The underside was perfectly smooth. Is that?
It's designed like that.
It is designed the feature of the actual car, is it? Is that?
Yeah. There's regulations about what you can have underneath from a racing point of view. To be honest, I think there's this is the M4 that that I'm building, that was the next one I was going to show you. So the M4's got a little bit more detail on because it's obviously a slightly newer model, but you can get a feel for,
Oh yeah.
you know. So this is the new M4 that I'm building. This one for Mr. Farmer, and that's going to be very red when it's finished. It's just waiting for a coat of pink primer, which I've been quite lazily putting off since Pontius was a pilot.
What pink? Get your teeth in. What pink primer are you going to be using? Is that going to be airbrush or spray can?
Well, you can't get Tamiya spray can for reasons we previously discussed, but I do have this.
Ah,
Mr. Surfacer Pink.
Pink. Whenever I see it, if I see it somewhere, I'll buy another one because it's always good to having one in. I've got a couple salted away along with the base white and the black because they're just really nice base primers. I am doing exhausts for another one from the models for Mr. Farmer. This is the that Suzuki motorbike that BMAX have done. So I started masking. So they've had a nice brightish silver coating, almost chrome, but not quite. So now I'm masking lines for weld lines because we've got to replicate this effect.
right.
Some heat staining and bits of weld, and so there'll be sepia and all sorts of nastiness going on in there. The interesting thing is that they in the couple of years prior to this bike, they wrapped the exhausts in silver foil, which is a lot easier to replicate than that. There's a better photograph somewhere. Let me just find it. A bike without, there you go, that one there.
Oh yeah, that's lovely.
It's a bit of Tamiya clear blue, a little bit, yellows and purpley effects, and some sepia and things like that. Then when you take the tape off, it leaves the bright lines that you can see where the seam, where the actual welds are.
Yeah.
Bit of what, if you a little bit of washing and stuff like that. So yeah, hopefully that'll be looking quite nice. The M4 wheels are done, so I'm making little bits of progress. To be honest, it has been, as you saw last week, way too hot in here. My air conditioning unit seems to be on the
Fritz.
Yeah. Well, it works, it doesn't work, it works, it doesn't work. And I would love actually to put proper full aircon up here, and it is something I will be looking at probably for when I win the lottery. But no, later on in the year maybe. But, it's a spendy shout though. Yeah, looking down the barrel of about £600 or £700 to do that in here. So,
well, I'm quite lucky in as much as you can tell I was in the garden today because I've got bits of rambling rose all over my hat. I'm very lucky in the workshop here because I've got a south-facing window. I can just open the windows. It's ground floor. So, but the problem there is you get one gust of wind and everything on the windowsill here, which is all my paints and all my paintbrushes and it's all paintbrushes actually. Just gets blown over. So
yeah,
with roundabouts.
As locations to work go, when you're not dealing with that extreme of heat, even in the middle of winter, it's nice enough because the boiler's literally there. So it's not a bad spot. It just could do with it being something I'm going to look at. I'm pricing it up at the minute, so we'll see.
The beauty of having a south-facing workshop is I get natural daylight in here a lot of the time. I'll obviously have my light on, but I've got natural daylight as well, which is good news. Right, project updates here. We have been finally getting some paint onto the ICM Panhard, or as they call it, I'm trying to see where the box is, it's some German designation. So what we ended up doing was painstakingly pre-shading great big areas of this model, and then I slept on it last night, came down this morning, had a look at it, and I thought, no, it still looks too cartoony. So I went at it with some paler sand, and then just blended it all back again. Took some photographs of it to go on social media, and then I thought, nah, it still looks a bit too cartoony. So we finally got it down to what I think is a reasonable effect now. If you can see on the underside there, that's how stark it was originally. But I'm keeping the undersides as is because it's a good kind of base to work to. You're probably wondering why is it a bit shiny, because the last thing I did as I was cleaning the airbrush out was I loaded it up with X22 clear, cut it about 50-50 with Tamiya lacquer thinner, retarded drying, and just blasted it with that clear. It makes for a nice smooth surface that when you are putting your washes in, the washes don't spread, they get drawn into the detail. And it also means, if I'm lucky, I can put the stickers on with, I should be able to get away with, probably gloss the areas a bit more where the stickers go. But yeah, so that's rapidly coming towards a conclusion. I should have a finished, well, I will have a finished model by the end of the week. So it's going to be, the next stage is just going to be some pin washes and not overthinking it. It's a display model for Telford. And yeah. The other thing, another display model for Telford, and it's the ICM Hamden. Now, we've already got the black undersides on. This afternoon, I masked off the leading edges and I just did a trial coat of Dark Earth. And the paints I have been using are the superb Scale Modelers Supply paints from Australia. They are absolutely stunning. You can spray them straight from the bottle. You don't need to thin them. Just brilliant paint. It covers, it's opaque, it covers quickly, it dries super smooth. My only issue with SMS paint is I just haven't got the budget to replace pretty much all of my lacquer range with SMS stuff. Anyway, this is just a first coat. I'm going to go at that with a bit of God, what do we call this stuff, Ian?
Scotch-Brite.
Scotch-Brite, yeah. I'm going to go at it with a bit of Scotch-Brite. Then I'm going to add there's a few more details I need to add. Then we'll put another coat on there. But this was just to see what the Dark Earth looked like. And I'm liking that Dark Earth very nicely. It's just got that little bit of red to it, but it's not too saturated. That's pretty good in my book. So
that looks great.
News. Actually, before we do news, I'm going to say hello to everybody. Let's have a quick rundown too. We got a big hello to Damien Mullen, Russell Taylor. Russell, thank you for all the links this week. Rally Chef's Model Shed, Nick Brown. I was just going to say the hooded crawn on plastic wheels, but that's Ian. So Dave Coward, Phil, Kev Tinker, Dave Fleming, Agent Dave Fleming, Anne-Marie Ryle Gould, Dave Swindle, Philip Jones, Peter Oxley, Bruce Bell, Hobby Time, Mike Williams, hello Mike, Phil Prisk, Theron Hampton, Hobby Time, Paul Voyle, Derek Hersey, Lee Suter, Sarah James with us tonight, Ian Goldstraw, Jerry Doyle, looking forward to seeing Jerry at Telford this year, Simon Lewis, Les Venus, Dougal McWoogle, sorry, I do that every time, but I do apologise. Dave, I know you're watching. I do apologise for the accent. Dean Taylor, Richard Graham, scrolls down. Right. First bit of news tonight, and this is Zukimura, and this is one of their latest iterations from their Focke-Wulf 190 kit. Now, this originally came out in 2023, and it originally came out as an A. Sorry, this is the original kit. This is their A4. It has come out in other iterations. Here is the other A4 that they did. This is a future variant that they're going to be doing, and this is the one we're going to be looking at tonight, which is the new one that's coming out this year, which is the A3, short-nosed A3. And so it looks lovely, as you'd expect from Zucchimura. It also is skeletal, should you so wish. So you can either build it like this, or you can cover it all up and do it as a conventional kit. I gotta say, the shapes look absolutely bang on, as you'd expect from Zucchimura. That just looks, oh, look at that. That just looks absolutely fabulous, doesn't it?
You know, I've never actually handled a Zucchimura kit. I've never owned one, and I've never looked at one particularly. Lots of people rave about them. I know that. It's just, they're just mental.
They're incredible kits. They kind of beg you to do some kind of a diorama, because covering up all that detail in the interior it feels bad almost.
Yeah.
I mean, it's such great work on the part of the modeling company to give you that stuff. And I know we did an article in the journal a while back, written by the guys at Zucchimura, talking about how they wanted people to understand how these airplanes were actually put together and the engineering work that went into making the real ones. Of course, once it's all closed up, you never see that again. But you've had the experience of knowing what's inside that airplane.
It's an impressive looking thing, though, isn't it? I'll give them that.
I suppose the beauty of this is you can build one side all buttoned up, but have the other side au naturel. So
I saw their Horton wing done like that at one point by someone. That was very, very nice.
Yeah,
they've done all the wood effect, the plywood and everything.
Yeah.
So yeah, they're impressive models. It's another one of those ones where they're going to eat every bit of potential out of a standard set of tools, isn't it? A3, A4. What was the one that you showed? Briefly showed a picture of one that was coming.
Yes.
Is that an F, AARA, or an F8?
Let me just scroll back. That was that one. I think that's an A8. Let me just.
Yeah, because it's got MG131s over the nose and a centerline rack. I think that's an A8. Yes.
I'm just on the fly here, just quickly looking up Scalemates. Scrolls down. Focke-Wulf 190 A3. Oh, sorry, no, that's the one we're looking at. God, it's been a long day, folks. Focke-Wulf 190 A8. It is an A8. So
yeah, so it's be interesting to think, because knowing the way they go, they're liable to do a Ramjager off of that as well, aren't they? With the armor plate and the that's obviously it's a slightly longer nose version. So yeah, again, if once they get into A5s, A6s, A7, 8s, and 9s, then there's an even bigger range of wonderment that they can do from it. Because unless I'm very much mistaken, the only reasonably modern 32nd scale kit is potentially the Hasegawa one. It's been around a long time. Did Revell do one at one point before their 109 late series, but it wasn't particularly well received, if I remember correctly.
Let me just look that up. Revell 132nd scale, Focke-Wulf 190. Oh,
I did at one point have a box with the Revell 119 32nd scale that contained the Hasegawa kit, which was quite disappointing when I owned it. But they also did a new tool one maybe 10 years ago.
It was 2015. Focke-Wulf. There we go. I'll bring the screen in. Come on, JM. You have the capacity to do this. Share screen.
Has it got the technology?
You
see.
There we go.
And $6 million.
Cheap at half the price. There we go. Revell 32nd scale Focke-Wulf 190 F8, which is, I've got to say, that's my favorite 190 variant. I just think with the blown hood and all the ordnance and the color schemes, I just think they're absolutely fabulous.
There's lots
Really
of late A9 variants and F variants with unpainted sections on the wings. And,
Yep. And then they also did the
grey potentially and things.
A8 R11 Night Fighter, and then they also did the A8 R2 Sternbog. So yeah,
And
but
so that did surprise me because they didn't do the RAM variant, which I thought they might have done. But there you go. So,
actually, I'm just gonna do Hasegawa Focke-Wulf 190. I get the funny feeling that their new tool ones are. Did they do new tool ones actually?
Hasegawa didn't. No, I don't believe they did.
No, they did. They did some new parts, but it was still their hoary old kit from the 70s.
Which has got raised panel lines and various other things. Okay, that's not the end of the world, but compared to the modern, and as Russell's just pointed out, there is the border kit with 35th scale, which.
Sorry, I pulled a face there, but
yeah,
I'm not knocking 35th scale aircraft. They're just not for me. So yeah,
because I saw the canning on the P-51 wing fuselage the other day, that 35th scale one, and thought, I hope they've photographed that in high contrast. That was all I could think of because
it's an interesting development. I'm not gonna, like I say, I'm not going to knock them, and they are pitching their kits at people. They are engaging people in the hobby. So I'm certainly not going to knock that. So it's one of those things. It's not for me, but not everything. We mustn't adopt this kind of self-centered kind of attitude towards the hobby.
No. The model shop in Leeds, the one I talk about regularly, got is it a Heinkel 111 they've just done? That is a big gas box. That is a very big box, and you can't look at something and go, I could live in the box, let alone build the model. It's that big. It's like the Lancaster, the 32nd scale Lancaster box. I mean, that's enormous. But
when you think about it, though, a 35th scale Heinkel 111, I was going to say it's going to be physically smaller than a 32nd scale one, but of course, Border have probably chucked in an incredible amount of interior stuff, so that's going to beef up the box size. So
it's a relatively small airplane, really. It's not a massive aircraft, is it? So you're looking at something with a good 6 to 8 inches less wingspan than a Lancaster, for instance, or something like that, aren't you? So. Yeah, more power to them. They found their little segment and they're doing what they want to do, and they're turning kits out at a phenomenal speed compared to some of the manufacturers. So we'll not argue.
Right. The next news item is this from a company called Ames, and this is a 3D printed figure of Martin Tino Becker, a night fighter ace credited with 58 aerial victories, making him the 10th most successful night fighter pilot in the history of aerial warfare. Ames are also hoping that they can do this figure in 48 scale. I think it's down to the print tolerances, but for sure they're going to do it in 32nd scale and 24th scale. And as has been pointed, they have mastered up his Iron Cross. He's missing his Iron Cross on his shirt, so they have done that. This was originally a 3D sculpt. I think it was originally a scan, but they had to go in there and do some additional 3D sculpting as well. So, but there he is, Martin Becker, and there he is with his Alsatian. I just think it's a brilliant pose, isn't it?
That's great. Yeah, very, very nice figure. Very a nice animated figure. Something you don't see usually.
I'm wondering what he's got in his right hand.
I think it's an umbrella. A dog biscuit?
I wonder if it's an umbrella. I'm just going to go back.
It's obviously scanned from a photograph, isn't it?
Yeah. I originally thought it was a cigar, but then I thought no. The dog is very interested in it. I'm veering towards a dog biscuit, but like you say, it could be an umbrella as well. So
With a little modeling skill, you can put like a turkey leg in his hand, and the dog makes total sense.
yeah, Ames said that they had to go in there and do quite a bit of tweaking work in that. Apparently, in a very early iteration, there was no difference between his saddle and his backside, so potentially painful. As somebody who used to cycle a lot, I can identify with that. So but it looks absolutely beautiful. This and
this is this thing where they are starting from a photograph, and the AI thing is kicking in, and they're getting the basic posing is coming through, and it's good if you've got the basic pose and it looks dynamic. Then going in and doing the alterations to it to make it more accurate isn't as painful as sculpting it from the floor up, I would have thought. And so I like that dynamism that comes with that scanner photograph. Was you put an article up this afternoon about?
I did. That's
on the page. Yeah,
I did. I have just. Oh, hello! Somebody's posted a photograph of their SR71 model, but that's me. That's me being a little bit distracted. I'm right. Here we go. Scrolls down. There we go. Found it. Yeah, this was. Yeah, we're going to bring this. We're going to bring this in as a live image here. So. I know, exciting
Brace
stuff.
yourself.
Brace yourselves. So there we go. So has that come into the studio yet? Not yet. Add to stage. There we go.
There we go.
Yeah. So this was a photograph of a Jaguar Pilot, and AI has pretty much filled in the rest, which is really quite staggering. This is scale spot models, by the way, so copyright all their images. But yeah, here we go. Our goal is to convert a single 2D reference image into a complete 3D printable model. To do this, we use AI to generate the additional viewpoints required to accurately reconstruct the object in 3 dimensions. AI helps by creating the missing angles like the back and sides, so the final STL is fully formed. There are 2 main steps involved. Generate a series of refined 2D images based on an original photograph, convert these images into a fully rendered 3D STL file suitable for printing. The first step, we can use most commonly available AI chat tools like Microsoft Copilot or Google Gemini to adjust and generate the various 2D images. For this tutorial, I used an image of a kneeling Jaguar Pilot as the starting point. This is on the Facebook page. I'm not going to read all the way through it, but there we go. They've removed the background and then amazingly now removed the pilot, the helmet rather. But this is amazing. It then generates a view from behind, and it then generates a side view. That's just absolutely staggering technology, isn't it?
Wow, this is cool. No, I love seeing this because there's certain scenes I would have loved to have replicated. Like I have an autograph picture on my wall of Alex Varashu at the Marianas Turkey shoot after coming back from shooting down 6 airplanes, where he's holding up 6 fingers like this. Yeah, and there's other crewmen around him smiling and doing different things. Other deck crewmen, and like a set of that would be awesome. I could pose it with my model. Well, I've got the photo and I've got the technology. So,
thing is,
cool.
This is an overhead view. Without me knowing that was AI generated, I would have said that was actually just a photograph.
Yeah.
I'd know that.
Where was the photographer standing?
Yes. I tell you what, that's many a view I've had playing football at school. But the perils of being a centre forward. But yeah, this it's on our Facebook page, folks. So if you want to go in and have a proper read rather than me trying to skim read it for you, but absolutely staggering technology.
It's exciting. It's exciting. I can tell you about big projects where I think a club built for a museum in the United States a 72nd scale aircraft carrier, like an Essex class carrier, and then had to fight like the Dickens to find figures for it because they just didn't exist. Right? They were chopping up the same figure over and over again and repositioning it to make different figures because they just had no access to more than a few that were appropriate. And now they could create an entire bespoke crew without too much effort.
Yeah. And they'd all be in dynamic, appropriate poses straight off the bat, which is the win, isn't it? So
yeah,
it was like was at the NEC for that show the other week, and Richard Middleton had arrived, and he's been building the old MPC Wacky Racers cars. Well, they did a kit of the Creepy Coupe, but they didn't put, if you remember, they had a dragon in the cupola on the roof and railings around it, so it looked like, and they didn't put that in the kit. So he sampled it, created it, and 3D printed the dragon. So here's the dragon and the railings around the roof. No, so as Jerry points out, it's witchcraft. Yes. It's beyond my pale at the minute, but I'm very, very impressed with. I got some bits from our friend at Zoom On the other day, and these are his Ray's Volks wheels that he's just done with 3D printed center, turn metal discs, and rubber tires. If you know your Fast and Furious films, there's a sequence in Tokyo Drift where Han does a drift donut around a car with two young Japanese ladies in it. These are the wheels you need to build the Japanese lady's car. They've never been kitted before. We had a conversation one day and they were in the post a week later.
How about this for a comment? This is from Kev Tinker. He says the original picture of the pilot is Flight Lieutenant Trevor Edwards of number 54 Squadron Jaguars in the 1990s. I was a rigger on 54 at the time and knew him. He was a great bloke. I don't suppose you're still in contact with him, are you, Kev? That would be great.
Tense, doesn't it? So.
Yeah. Well, I think of people I was at school with, and I think he was a great bloke. They're still around, but right.
Interesting if he is, because we want to know what was on the bottom of his boots to see if that AI matches.
Right.
If it's missed the bit of chewing gum off that was caught on his boot, well,
if it's the wrong tread, that's it. Game over. Well, Russell Taylor says Hasegawa also did the Focke-Wulf 190D in 132nd scale as a new toolkit and as a high-tech modification of their own 190A. Now, I seem to remember that I think the fuselage on that in that kit was all brand new recessed detail, but I think the wings were the old raised panel line kits, and I think it was the late great Ted Taylor covered that in scale models.
He did.
And we've got a comment from Mr. Tim Perry who says, I use Meshi to generate James Martin and Valentine Baker models from the famous image of them standing in front of the MB2. It works very well if the clothing is generic, suits, hats, etc., but it gets lost with specific kit like parachute packs, straps, helmets, etc. The more images you can give it, the better, of course. I know Tim did that with a photograph of him and his dearly missed late father, Alan, where they'd done a parachute jump. And from the image, Tim was able to generate, I think he used Meshi to generate figures of himself and his dad. So I'll see if I can find that for the end of the show. If not, we'll bring that in for next week's show. Right. Another interesting kind of release this week, or news of release. How about that? 1/48 scale US Navy acoustic locator, and this is from the 1918 to 1925 period. It looks like something, Ian, that was straight out of Dad's army, but Them's was real. In fact,
Yeah,
there were a whole series of these type of devices, including installations on the south coast in England.
There were.
Uh-huh.
My first thought when I looked at that was you're going to need a shed load of Mr. Whippy. But
that's a pair of big flakes, isn't it, for a 99?
yeah, that's a hell of a flake.
Yeah.
There's a I've been to some of the sites on the south coast with in around places like Sheerness and things like
That's it.
that, where there's the parabolic dishes, the concrete parabolic dishes to focus sound and things like that the Observer Corps were using to supplement the radar systems. And there was some impressive engineering and some absolutely out of the box thinking. That is definitely out of the box thinking.
Yes.
Well, the ones that I was coming up to, the ones I was finding today were literally kind of like they were like Mickey Mouse ears that people wore on their heads. It's
I've
like I
seen them.
say, it's straight out of Sarah Jane. Top comment. That looks like an early version of a pod racer. It does.
Yeah.
It really does.
Travis is now in stereo.
Yep. But yeah, this is, like I say, if we go back to, that's absolutely brilliant. 3D printed OBS, but what an original release. Just brilliant. Absolutely brilliant. I'm just going to go to the notes here. No, I didn't have any notes for this. So yeah, you could write an entire episode of Dad's Army around one of these, couldn't you?
When you really don't want to talk to somebody.
Yes.
I mean, to be honest, it doesn't do anything other than be done as an item in isolation, does it? It's a vignette type thing.
Yeah. No, I agree, but I just think as a modelling project, though, that is absolutely brilliant. So
do you get the feeling that that's gone the same route as the photograph thing that we've just been talking about? Because those photographs that you had just now, that pose, the pose of the guy is that guy.
Pretty much so,
yeah.
Uniform's a little bit different, but that's just a minor tweak.
Travis just won the internet.
Oh God, I dread to think what.
Yes,
Purists will tell you it's the only way to listen to Dark Side of the Moon.
Thank you, Travis. You've won tonight.
Yeah. And Paul Voyle
Jonathan will send your prize later.
I will send you. Actually, Travis, drop us your. Sorry, I'm going a bit Terry Wogan there for a second, but drop us your snail mail address via Messenger, and we will sort something out for you. Paul Voyle says very, very Heath Robinson. That is, I agree. Yeah. And Mike Williams says Dungeness sound mirrors. Yeah, that's what I was thinking of.
Yeah. That whole period, you know, if you think about the cyberpunk thing that goes on now, it is of that ilk, isn't it? It's the technology is there, it's the materials and the capability to produce that develops, isn't it? So I think that's a really cool thing. I've just noticed the rigging wires between the cone openings.
Yeah.
So
So that's what a fun.
Jack Daniels says, can you imagine if a seagull screeched in one?
The neighborhood kids lobbing pebbles into them.
No, I like that. That's
groovy.
I think that's absolutely brilliant. Right. Seeing as we had a minor comment not a minor comment, we had a comment last week. Where's all the military stuff? Well, tonight we've got military stuff. So Ryefield Models, and they are doing this. They're doing a couple more Shermans. So this is one of the first ones there, or one of the first releases that they've got scheduled for this year, which is the M50 Sherman early pattern Degem LF or Degem Beth. I did have some notes on what these variants are, but I've lost the notes. So yeah, so you can see that there are 3D printed parts in there, but there are also look like additional new sprues as well. So there is the difference between the Degem LF and the Degem Beth. So yeah, I think you've got new parts for the is it the Glacis, the front bit, the transmission
cover, yeah.
Also
there's a cast one and a fabricated
that's it.
one.
Yeah.
And extra armor for the gunner and the driver. That's nice.
Those Israeli Shermans, they were still in service long after they should have been retired, but the Israelis just kept getting more and more and more out of them, didn't they?
Yep.
It also looks like you get the extensions to the track teeth as well, and different
grousers, I believe they're called.
That's it, and different versions of the drive sprocket, also the return rollers, and fiery things. So we've got 30 cal machine guns there.
Oh, and the later style cupola for the commander. That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that 50 cal looks very nice.
Yep.
That's going to have a lot in that box.
Yeah, it's going to be.
Those boxes where when you undo the cellophane, they inhale. It's that kind of box, isn't it? That one.
Well, if we go back to, we've jumped the gun a bit there, but if we go back to the photograph of the sprues, yeah, that's going to be a big old deep box, that, because I think they've only shown, I get the feeling probably the sprues for the tracks are doubled as well. In fact, probably the sprues for the tracks and the wheels are doubled.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, that's going to be a big old box. The other variant they are doing is scrolls down. They're doing the M4A3 76 horizontal volute suspension, but this comes with a clear hull, so you can see all the interior gubbins, which I think is pretty neat.
Blimey.
And again, to channel my inner Cilla Black, that's a lot of parts. And yeah, that's if you don't like doing individual track links, then I'm afraid you're not going to enjoy this kit. But
well, to be honest, you're not going to enjoy many of the modern armor kits if you don't do individual link, are you?
It's a Zen experience. You have to put yourself in the zone.
There's my modeling group. There's a couple of guys in there. They're extolling the virtues of one of the 3D printed ranges, and the name has gone out of my head. Bear with me. I'm now currently on WhatsApp. So, DN Studios 3D printed tracks for Cromwells, for the Tamiya Cromwell, and they are apparently the poodles.
I've heard about some of these 3D printed tracks. My friend Randy's built some stuff using that material versus the old Friel model where you had to stick a wire through everything and stick it together. These and the 3D printed ones now snap together.
Yeah.
Martin Kovac on Night Shift was eulogizing about some of them on one of his videos a year or two back, and he literally snapped these tracks together and then was, they're fully articulate. So more than I am tonight. So so that's there is still life in the old Sherman. It's always going to be an evergreen subject, and especially with these kits, I think it's just we're never going to run out of Shermans. Let's put it this way. And kit companies are always going to find new things to do with them, like Ryefield have done here with a full interior. So again, you could build it like this or do it as a diorama. I don't know, but
how many of these things have people produced with clear shells in them, and how many do you actually ever see at shows?
Well, yeah, that's a good point.
You know what I mean? The Tamiya do all those cars with clear body shells. They do the absolutely beautiful Mercedes 300 Gullwing they did a few years ago. They did a clear version of that, and for a while it was the only one you could get. which actually made it really difficult to build if you wanted to just build it as a standard car, because the clear plastic's just so brittle.
Yeah.
And so, yeah,
I've seen some
know
armor
the
builds.
value of it as a standalone release. I'd rather have a complete kit and a clear sprue as an option if I wanted to do it. Yeah, I don't know.
Well,
jury's out on that one for me.
I've seen some really well done in armor where they've created a display for it where it's kind of exploded with the turrets off the hull, and there's different things removed from that so you can see things interior. The clear things, I think sometimes the clear parts actually make it harder to see the stuff inside.
It's got to be absolutely crystal clear, hasn't it? Because
yeah, it's got to be very, 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 very clear. So.
Detail. I don't know. I mean, we'll never know how many of them they sell by comparison, because I'm pretty sure even no matter how much AI you employ, Rifle aren't going to tell you. So, yeah, we'll see. But
we have a development, folks, because Richard Graham has just said, go to LinkedIn, and it's Flight Lieutenant Trevor Edwards is the name of our mystery pilot. He's now a captain with British Airways. I just did a quick search on Google, and no, I don't want that one. Where's my... I didn't need the teleprompter. Where's the... So I'm trying to find the... here we go. Share screen. That's what we're looking for. There we go. Flight Lieutenant, Royal British Legion. So let's add it. Come on, StreamYard. There we go. Add to stage. This is a whole page about Flight Lieutenant... get me teeth in. Flight Lieutenant Trevor Edwards, and some brilliant pictures down here of him with Jags. Do you know what? Sorry, I've got Michael Caine now. Do you know what? Do you know what? We are going to share this to that.
I've seen that little photograph before somewhere, and in a book of some or on the internet, and realised it was the same guy. That's interesting, isn't it?
Yep.
Yeah.
Right,
Wow.
I'm just going to Facebook, and I'm just going to post that link up. But I am going to try and get in contact with Flight Lieutenant Trevor Edwards, and wouldn't that be a story? Wouldn't that be a story to actually have him on the show?
That'd be great.
Even better if you had that model, the figure model as well, wouldn't it?
Yeah, exactly. I can sense a plan for.
Here's the real thing, and here's one we made earlier. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Right. Next, ResKit, and they have done a lovely set here, which is decals and masks, decals, stencils, and masks for Ukrainian MiG-29 Fulcrums. It's the digital pixel camouflage, and this will be for the Great Wall hobby kit. So it includes main decals and stencils with masks for painting. So I've got to say that's an awful lot of decals there. I wholeheartedly approve, and there they are with the masks as well.
Nice.
So here are your schemes. So yeah, that digital camo, that makes life easier, doesn't it?
Now, which country does that belong to with that giant logo on the back?
That'll be Ukraine.
Yeah, no kidding.
Yes, yeah, I think Chris was referring to the Models UA stamp and at the top right of the screen as well. Yeah. But there's your masks as well. What I like about these is that they're partially shaped to match the wings and fuselage section, so that's a very nice touch.
I built the ICM did the 72nd Scum MiG-29 with that scheme on it, and the digital camo was decals. Yeah, didn't get finished.
Not fun. No. I like how they actually give you the that Trident emblem as part of the mask. That's cool.
Yep.
Not a decal thrown over the paint. It's actually part of the mask.
Yeah. That's a really nice and intelligent set of material, isn't it? That's the thing. Sometimes you kind of go, well, you've done half of it. That's everything you need in one job. I like that. That's clever. But then again, it's res kit, so we didn't really expect it not to be clever, did we?
No. This is. We haven't had res kit corner on the show for a week or two, so there we go. Res kit, our resident res kit corner.
I still want to know whether you can get the Kangaroo in 32nd scale in isolation to the F111 set. I just want the Kangaroo.
I'm sure. Actually, do you need that Kangaroo in the pose that it is, or you just need a Kangaroo?
I just want the Kangaroo.
So a Kangaroo or the Kangaroo?
That Kangaroo.
Right. I was going to say, because I'm sure if you go on,
I could probably find one online. But I just fancy. I just thought it was great. And for some, but when I saw the price of the Kangaroo and the F111 cockpit, I nearly had a coronary. So I decided not to, because I wasn't going to buy it just for the Kangaroo. I've got
throw away the F11 parts and keep the Kangaroo.
I have a diorama involving a racing car and a mountain.
I'm just having a look here. I've just Googled 3D printed Kangaroo. I'm sure there are. I'm sure there are some. I mean, some of these are just literally glorified toys. But
I don't know if you know what Bathurst is.
Yeah,
Bathurst is a racing track in Australia. The number one hazard whilst racing around Bathurst isn't speed, isn't other drivers. It's kangaroos.
It's Skippy, isn't it?
It's Skippy. And this year's race was interrupted sometime early on by a collision involving a kangaroo doing 25 mile that way and a car doing 150 mile that way.
One of my favorite things from when I was a tech reporter was I went to Silicon Graphics and they showed me this wonderful render, this landscape render they'd done for the Apache program. So when you're flying your simulator over this landscape, it looked totally realistic. And if you come over a rise, there were soldiers and the soldiers would scatter. And, it was really realistic, right? Well, when they tried to sell this system to the Australians said, well, if you're making it about Australia, can you put kangaroos in there? So the programmers took a lot of the soldiers and swapped them in for kangaroos. So you come over a rise and the kangaroos would scatter. One thing they forgot to do is that some of the kangaroos actually had man pads. So the kangaroos were firing missiles back at the helicopters. So
Sarah Jane
accurate, but close.
Sarah Jane just said that happened in the 12 hours of Bathurst in February. That's the one I was talking about, actually. That is the race we were referring to. Sorry. The poor driver was back because it was hit the kangaroo and that just everything at the front of the car disappeared and it was straight to the scene of the accident stuff. But it was spectacular. So I'm trying to get myself either a large enough kangaroo to kind of
kangaroo waving a yellow flag.
Yeah, I had something in mind along those lines.
Mike Williams says, my colleague at work makes 3D printed tracks for excavator models. They're very strong, snap together, and actually workable in situ on the models. Yep. Yeah,
well, these Cromwell tracks are like that. They're fully articulated, and they just clip together. And when you know how much hassle the Tamiya tracks are to work on with that kit, you will understand, bearing in mind how ubiquitous the Cromwell drivetrain is across their, Centaur and all those kind of stuff. They're a big step forward, and they're not massively expensive either.
No, in fact, I was just looking at the shelf there. On the shelf of Not Quite So Doom, I do actually have it's a Tamiya Comet. I was going to say Cromwell. No, it's a Tamiya Comet that I've got to finish off for Telford. So Sarah Jane says, took out the Ford GT3 Mustang. So this is Skippy ruining the racing. Right, the next news item. This is possibly kit of the year ish. A 32nd scale flying flea from Micromere. Now, as the byline at the top says, made during the Russian-Ukrainian wartime. We've got a bit of blurb about the Flying Flea. As soon as I can find it. Notes, there we go. The DFW T-28 FLO, English Flea, was a small German, I think small. I think we can accept that. It's a small German biplane fighter prototype, designed by Hermann Dorner, the designer of the successful Hanover CL-2 two-seater fighter in 1917, and built by Deutsche Flugzeugwerk. Designed in 1915 as a high-speed fighter. I think the only way that'll ever be a high-speed fighter is if gravity took over. The Flea had a small 6 meters, 6.2 meters wingspan, which is about 20 feet, and a rather understatement here, and a rather ungainly tail and thin fuselage. I didn't see it myself, but there we go. With a fixed conventional landing gear, the Flea was powered by a 100 horsepower Mercedes D1 inline piston engine, and on its first flight in 1915 reached 110 miles an hour. Quite fast for the time. I take it back. The aircraft suffered from very poor forward visibility. Really?
You do not surprise.
There we go. The aircraft suffered from very poor forward visibility and was difficult to land due to its narrow landing gear. The prototype crashed during the flight testing program. So there we go, Micromere, and there it is. That's tiny, isn't it?
Yeah.
And I remember building it from an Eduard kit, I think, potentially in 48 scale, when Eduard were really, really, really at the beginning of their existence.
Mm-hmm.
And you have to outline all the flying surfaces in black. You can see it on the tail surface in that photograph.
Yeah, I can
So
see
it's
it.
it's like an off-whitey, pale bluey color with that. There you go, with the outline.
Yeah.
It took me more time to mask those edges than it took to build the model. The rest of it was just, cute airplane.
Well,
Yeah.
It has. Look, it's got a lovely happy face.
You can see those edges in that photograph.
Yeah,
From the side there, it looks like it's like the aircraft equivalent of a penny farthing bicycle.
it's. We mentioned the name Heath Robinson was mentioned tonight. Yeah, that how anybody thought that was going to be easy to fly, easy to land. But there we go. There are the parts. Do you know what, folks? I say this every week. I'm liking this. It will be out of my affections by the end of the week, but if they were to do this in 72nd scale, I would be right in there. But
Somebody already has.
Yeah,
No.
somebody like Pegasus or somebody.
No, someone else. One of the Russian, sorry, one of the Eastern European companies has done it in 72nd. And for the life of me, I can't remember who it was. Scale makes it, John.
I'm just hang about. Here we go. 1/72nd scale.
I just found out
Flea.
that eating a Haribo Tangtastic and then having a mouthful of cider is not a smart combination.
Yeah, company called Elf Model. They've done Flying Flea in 72nd scale. Oh, right, we're bringing this on screen.
There's a right list, isn't there? I bet you.
Uh-oh.
For an
There we go.
airplane that there was only one of, by the look of it, crashed during trials, never
Yep.
got anywhere near production, never got into service.
Tremendous
There are
charisma.
How many kids? Yeah, but it's got a cute smile.
Yeah. It's got a lot of charisma for a
Right,
we
so
go.
I've got a cute smile, but there's no model kits of me.
Well,
not yet, but
this-
you could be like our friend the flight lieutenant, Trevor Edwards.
there we go. This is the Elf Model 72nd scale. I'll bring it in on screen. There we go. That's more like it. Elf Model 72nd scale.
Yeah.
Flying Flea. That looks rather tiny.
I knew it existed.
That's nice.
Yeah.
I mean, this is the problem with the wires. I know it's cute, it's German, it's World War One, and it's unusual. But why have we got a kit of that? Think how many other aircraft and cars and boats have had more distinguished services than that. Yes, I think. Thank you, Dave. But yeah, it's just
I know, absolutely. I know Aero Club. I know John Adams did one back in the 80s as well.
Yeah.
John
John did some really interesting stuff back. He was. I bumped into him. Lincolnshire, I think, Telford, as well. He still moats around. He runs a civilian aircraft special interest group, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Does like interwar stuff, which of course was always his thing. You know, the Javelin Rapides and things like that. He did some lovely kits of those back in the time.
I've still got my Aero Club Dragon Rapide up in the attic. Never touched it.
There was a kit. Someone did a kit, didn't they? The injection molded kit.
Yeah,
Mike Williams built one recently.
Was it Armory or something like that?
Yeah, Armory. Yeah. Sorry, I've got an itchy nose because the hay fever's kicking in.
I know exactly what that's like, Ian, because mine just, that doesn't matter what I do, it just, that's it. It's just, I'm trying not to do it now. Right, next news item.
Nose is big, that's a problem.
Yes. We have gone from a flying flea to something a little bit quicker. This is A&A Models, and this is the XB1, the Baby Boom. Now, I'll read you a bit of blurb about this. The Boom XB1 Baby Boom is a retired trijet supersonic demonstrator designed by Boom Technology as part of the development of the Boom Overture supersonic transport airliner. Powered by 3 General Electric J85 engines, it was initially designed to maintain a speed of Mach 2.2 with over 1,000 nautical miles of range, but the demonstrator was tested to only Mach 1.1 and no long-range flights were made. The XB1 began test flights in December 2022 and conducted its maiden flight on March 22nd, 2024. The aircraft performed its first supersonic test flight in January 2025, January 28, 2025, so that's just over a year ago. Being the first privately developed jet aircraft to do so, it made a second supersonic flight on February the 10th, 2025, after which the XB1 was retired. That's a damn shame, but that just looks pretty darn cool, doesn't it?
Oh, yeah. Very neat. Very neat.
Very Jerry Anderson, Thunderbird / Stingray / Captain Scarlet, I think.
Yeah, I can definitely see that.
They've got a reasonable Facebook presence of Boom, and I was watching the feed for this thing. There was a little bit of scuttle about why it didn't do more flying. So, but they don't seem to progress any. So it'll be interesting to see what happens with that program. But the aircraft itself is absolutely fabulous. It's a really good-looking aeroplane in the air as well. There's some great video of it online. They think because I think they use an F5A or F5B as a chase for it, and it was definitely leaving the F5 standing at some point. So, yeah, and the A&A models, I think they're linked to Micromere as well. You know, John, because there's 2 or 3, isn't there, in that little stable? Big models or something nice that do the airliners that Drew likes. I think they're linked to them as well somehow. So they're churning out some fabulous models.
I just went on to Boom's Facebook page. You're right, there are some brilliant videos on there. So folks, we'll put up a link to the Boom page. But yeah, like that a lot. So
I think basically people were a little bit surprised it got retired as quickly as it did, because it didn't fly much, which you're not sure whether they found an issue or whatever, or whether they just got what they needed straight away and moved on. So we'll find out one with time. Yeah,
right. I'm just seeing what we still have to bring in. Scrolls down. Mirage model. Goodness me! It appears we've got so much to talk about tonight that we ran out of space on the studio here. So, because they only let you queue up kind of like 12 items, and it's not letting me. Oh, Mirage. There we go. Mirage model. So 70-second scale. M33 prime mover with M1 240mm howitzer and figures, Cori, Italy, 1944. So it's a mix of injection molded parts and 3D printing, from what I can tell. Just going to have a quick read of what it says here.
3D printed high detail track links in 70-second scale.
Yeah.
Oh, lovely.
So
that's a
on-paint version, US Army, plastic parts. There we go. 5 figures, photo etched parts, 3D printed parts, 3D printed high detailed track links, line. I don't know what they mean by that. Plastic diorama based detailed model interior. And there's the packaging for it. Looks very swish.
Mirage have been around a long time though now, haven't they? I mean, they've been around. They did, because they did a PZL 37 and a PZL 11 at least 25 years ago. So it's nice to see them producing some new products actually. Some of those, you know, brands come and go, don't they? And it's nice to see brands like this popping back up again with new stuff. So
I might actually try and get hold of one of these Mirage kits, because I'm curious as to what they're like. And I do like the this kind of, the M33 kind of vehicle as a offshoot of the Priest. Not the Priest. Yeah, it's just absolutely. I like that. I like that a lot. So
it comes with the diorama base. And
it does.
The diorama for a bit of the table and stuff. That's obviously another photograph or something that they found, isn't it? So yeah, that's cool.
There we go.
That's neat.
And
I
it's
just read
70-second scale, for goodness sake.
Yeah, that's a
lot
of detail in that scale, isn't it?
Kieran Hampson says, I have a friend that is working on this and the next one.
Is that the boom, or is he talking about there? That's cool. So there is another one coming. That's even better.
Even better. Simon Lewis is very, very cognizant person here. It's because kit designers look in their crystal ball and say, one day there will be a man called JM who will build one of them. I think that's how they're operating at the moment. But what I do like about this is it does look like it's got a full interior for a 70-second scale military vehicle. So do you know what? When the show's over, I think I'm gonna have to have a Google around, see if I can find one of them, because that was my formative modeling years, were building 70-second scale armor, because that was all I could afford. So yeah, I think we need to get one and report back.
I like it. I just was rereading Ernie Pyle's book, Brave Men, which part of it spent in Italy with the artillery. So it's very interesting to see that there's a kit that would depict that specific operation and the equipment they were using. The 240mm howitzers. Said it was interesting when they had a fire mission in the middle of the night. How everybody's everybody's sleeping quarters were disturbed by the firing of the big guns. Not so much the enemy, but by their own stuff.
Janet's father was in North Africa and Italy, so he was moving up Italy with the British forces at the end of the war. So yeah, those guys were they were a different breed in that era.
Right, next we're gonna rattle through these last 3 items, and this is right. This is scrolls up because they're all out of sequence here. This is Green Stuff World, and these are all out of sequence. Never mind. So they're doing a set of Christmas gifts, 3D printed Christmas gifts. So
bearing in mind these are 28 mil for gaming,
48th scale and 35th scale. So
sorry, I didn't. I thought these were in Games Workshop scale, 28 mil.
No, 48th and 35th scale. So
I shall go back and read my book.
Yeah,
I like the one with the teeth.
Yes, that's very good. What else are they doing? They are also doing a set of explosive parts.
Where's Wile E. Coyote?
Yes, print set Old World Explosives, 30 parts. So yeah, this is very, very kind of Warner Brothers, isn't it? I think it's primarily supposed to be for kind of like fantasy wargaming and
So that's a 28mm figure, look.
Yeah, but these are in 48 scale, so probably some stuff there that
we could cross. Yeah,
military modelers could appropriate.
Might be useful for your the dynamite might be useful for your gangster build, mate.
No.
Yep, or you could have the pilot of the flow throwing one of those things out of the cockpit.
They also doing a set of. Ooh, I lost the. Here we go. They're doing a set of 48th and 35th scale dogs as well. Sorry, the blessed things have all gone skew with here. Oh, no, they're doing 3D. These are 3D printed military dogs, because that one's wearing a gas mask and they're kind of doing IED clearance. So not sure about some of those poses. They look a little bit clunky, but that's just...
They look more like the dogs from Up.
Actually, no, the reason why I'm being horribly critical here, the reason why I'm saying that is because one of them there is wearing a protective vest. So that's throwing his it's throwing his proportions out a bit. So that's what happens when you engage your mouth before you engage your brain, quite frankly. So then they're doing pallets of food, boxes of food. So there we go, empty boxes. And there they are with bread and veg and fruit in there. Absolutely brilliant. These are
bread. Sorry, those veg. The bread. If they're 35th scale, they go really well with those mini art.
Yep.
Trolleys and what's that 3-wheel thing? The Tempo.
Yeah, the Tempo. I'm still in the process of building it. Which is code 4. I haven't finished it yet. These sets are 48 scale and 35th scale, so they're kind of take your pick, really. And they're doing this is definitely serious. They're doing coffins as well, with a very modest skeleton there. And there we go. And then they're doing penguins, so you can literally pick up a penguin. And
there's a number of different species in there as well, isn't there? Because there's an emperor in there. That's really cool.
Yeah. So these are 35th and 48th scale as well. They're doing tree stumps, which have no scale, suitable for all scales. And more Christmas. These are Christmas gifts, Christmas decorations. So these are 48th scale and 35th scale. Yeah, they do a bit. Yeah, they do a bit. And then we've got signs, wooden signs. Again, these are 48th and 35th scale. And that's it from Green Stuff World, but very, very useful, very ingenious, and I like their thinking.
I mean, they obviously started off with doing gaming stuff. They're one of the people that came into the market against the Warhammer type product. But get some of their gear. I mean, they do some very good this stuff. Epoxy putty. That's fabulous if you can get it. I don't know if you can get hold of that, Chris, but that's brilliant stuff. That is to the point at which there's one on the go and there's a spare up there. That's how much I like it. So that's really nice. Easier to use than Milli Putty. Yeah.
Neat.
Very cool stuff, that is. So, and they do, excuse me, they do a very nice wet version, like a tubbed version as well, in a pot. That's water-based, though, so it doesn't stand wet. It's nice for doing wing roots and things like that.
Last two items for tonight. And we have this from... Lost his notes again. The notes are supposed to
Military Wheels.
Military Wheels. This is a tram car, Series X or Series 10. USSR 1920s to 1940s. So we are familiar with these because our friends Mini Art have done a series of trams, albeit in 35th scale, but this is 72nd scale. Again, looks rather neat. Be interested to see one of these.
That's a set of busy sprues.
Yeah.
I suspect, though, Ian, that quite a few of them are kind of repeats. Yeah, multiple.
Clear ones definitely are duplicated, aren't they?
Yeah.
That's a cool thing.
It is. And I can see that being popular with model railway builders as a cheap way of filling out a layout or whatnot. Obviously, it'll be a layout of a Soviet train system, but no, I like that. That's pretty cool, that. So there we go. That's military wheels, 72nd scale tram car.
Can't build your 72nd scale Leningrad or Stalingrad diorama with that one.
Ooh, yeah, fair point.
This is true. And finally,
he's off again.
Yeah. And finally, JM yet again indulges himself with tonight's and finally. This is an injection molded kit, and it is coming from Kyoto. As you can guess, they're Japanese. And what's it going to be, you're all asking? What's it going to be? Well, I'll tell you what, it's going to be this. It is 1960s King Ghidorah. Absolutely brilliant. What an inspired creation from Toho Studios. Just give you a bit of blurb here. King Ghidorah, the space monster. Originally seen in 1964's Ghidorah, the three-headed monster, is joining Kyoto's Artplas Sculpture Works model kit lineup. The master sculpture behind this piece is Shinobu Matsumura, a leading authority in natural history and biological modeling. This kit reconstructs the scene in the mountainous terrain where King Ghidorah clashed with, can you guess? Clashed with Godzilla, Mothra, and Rodan, incorporating a pose inspired by the movie's promotional poster. King Ghidorah's majestic presence has been brought to life through an entirely new sculpt. Each of the three heads features a distinct impression while faithfully adhering to the aesthetics of the film. The design enhances biological realism by varying the sizes of the scales across different parts of the body, by positioning a bridge in the foreground and recreating the shrine grounds featured in the movie. The kit effectively conveys King Ghidorah's overwhelming size. This is the clever bit. The creature's scales have been divided into separate parts to prioritize intricate detail. Despite their complex shapes, the pieces interlock precisely, allowing for a seamless gap-free assembly. Now, I'm looking at you, Bandai King Ghidorah kit, because I bought you 30-odd years ago, and I never got around to finishing you because the seams were horrible on that model. So, allowing for a seamless, gap-free assembly. I'm sold already. Let's just scroll through the rest of the pictures. What an inspired creation, though. Absolutely brilliant. And here we are. So this is injection molded.
That's really good, doesn't it?
It looks absolutely beautiful. And this is what they're talking about when they say that you can see from the sprues there, you can see the body and how these best to describe me as these body parts, the scales, all interlock onto that kind of central kind of core skeleton. One-piece wings. Oh, they're beautiful. And there's your base. And yeah, there you go. That's the kind of like the core skeleton that the body parts kind of lock into. Absolutely fabulous. It costs about £1 gazillion, and unfortunately, I won't be. As much as I'd like to be in the market for one, I don't think I am. But Absolutely brilliant. So this is Kyoto and their classic 1960s King Ghidorah. I'm in love.
Yeah, good for them for thinking outside the box as far as how the joints should work. They don't have to be straight lines. They can be whatever you need them to be, right?
Well, especially when you're dealing with scales, is that you can work with that to get them to overlap to hide your joins. This is where the Bandai kit went horribly wrong, albeit got to realize the Bandai kit was designed to 1970s kind of standards of R&D. So yeah, you just ended up with seam lines right down the middle of scales. But
it's notoriously bad, that though, isn't it? That one. That is the one that they all go, that's the worst one.
Yeah. I will dig it out at some stage and take some photographs and show you on the Facebook page. But yeah, so exciting times, right? Any other business?
I don't think so. I think we've already gone through everything. It's been a nice long show. So
no, it's been fun. I did have one reverse back to an older product this week.
Go on.
Been dealing with a couple of kits with the more how can I put this carefully, the more heavily recycled style of plastic that we're starting to see now with the high propylene count in it, and I was having problems getting them to stick together. And so I was at the model shop and I resorted to a jar of this, which I haven't actually had in my possession in a very long time. EMA Plastic Weld, which is, it says, use plastic weld to cement any of the following plastics to each other in any combination: styrene, butyrate, ABS, acrylic, lucite, or plexiglass, and perspex. Let me tell you, they're not kidding. And it's an eternity since I've had a jar of plastic weld on my bench. I'd forgotten how good it is.
Yep.
It is fantastic. The only slight problem is it tends to dye the plastic yellow when it dries. So
interesting.
It's good stuff. It's pungent. There's a good word. But I haven't had any for ages, and this. Sorry,
what was that word?
Pungent.
Pungent. Yes, it is.
Yes, yeah, and I hadn't had any for ages and ages and ages, and my backside was being handed to me by these particular items that I was trying to work with, and I was at the model shop thinking, what do I do? And there it was, on the shelf, smiling sweetly at me. And there it is. And I bought a jar, and it's only to be used in extremis. Let's just say that, because I'm pretty sure some of the modern plastics would not react well to it. But
I've got some in here somewhere. I've still got my bottle of EMA plastic. I'll dig that out as well. I'll make a note.
You can't find it by the smell. But yeah, the one thing I do say about this, and everybody who has ever used it will agree with me, is don't leave the lid off.
No.
Because half an hour, if you leave it off for more than about, you go back, there'll be nothing in the jar. You'll be convinced that there are toadstools growing from the ceilings and things, but there'll be nothing in the jar.
Rally Chef has just reiterated that. Ian, remember, don't leave the top off in this weather.
It's gone. That is the one downside to it, but it is phenomenal stuff.
Tim Perry says EMA cement, utterly fabulous. And Dave Fleming, here he is, methylene chloride.
It's just a different. It's in a different class when it comes to plastic. But as I've just said, be wary of it particularly with the current generation of Tamiya plastics.
And Mike Williams also agrees. He says plastic weld is superb. Just keep that lid on tight, lest it evaporates before your very eyes.
Funnily enough,
carry on.
Yeah, the current generation of the where's it gone? This stuff is prone to flash off as well if you leave the lid off. But that is not methyl chloride, so.
No, I'll do it after the show. It's up there somewhere. It's up there somewhere. Right. Oh yes, and Jack Daniels reminds us my favourite blast from the past is 10X7R. Yep, you used to be able to get that in Antics in Bristol.
It's long gone, isn't it now?
10X.
Yeah. It was good stuff. It was a mech blend with something else in it. It was fabulous stuff. That was.
Yeah. Right.
But yeah, it was just one of those weird ones where, what do I do? What do I do? I'd forgotten about that, and there it was home.
Yeah, you've got me. You've got me now thinking. Ooh, it's around here somewhere. What's this?
Because it used to have because I tell you the one thing I did notice, they've switched to a lid with a seal built into it. So when until you open it, it is sealed. So because it used to literally evaporate on the shelves. I was aware of one trader who said if you had a box of 12, you actually only retailed 11 of them, because by the time you'd finished topping them all up, one of them was always empty. So, yeah.
Right. On that note, fingers crossed, we'll be back next week. Are we doing a car show next week, Ian?
Well, we ought to, I suppose. Didn't we?
We've got to start our challenge at some stage.
I haven't got my kits yet, mate. So.
All right. Okay. Well, you can't start until you get your kits, obviously. No. So.
Well, once that parcel arrives, I'll let you know.
Yeah. And
we'll start. I have to see if I can get a set of that Green Stuff World Dynamite, because I want some of that.
Yeah. Lox9 says, Lox9 says, I've got Mr. Cement black glue, don't use it at all. Do you know what? I have got so many bottles of the MIG stuff in the green, and I got that, and the red, and I never run out of glue. So right, on that note, a big thank you to Chris, a big thank you to Ian, and least but not last, a big thank you to everybody who's given up an hour and a half of their precious, not just their precious Sunday nights, their precious lives, for goodness sake. We do appreciate your patronage. Thank you very much. Fingers crossed, we'll be back next week. Until then, as always, stay safe, stay out of trouble. And I was almost going to channel my inner Martin Kovac there and say, don't just collect models, build them. But no, copyright him. So get building something and share it to our social media pages. So until then, from us all, thank you for watching. Stay safe, stay out of trouble. Bye-bye, everybody. Bye-bye.